A brave young Painesville Township boy meets his hero, and we'll see how nuclear power is keeping a man alive. Join us following Donahue.
As many of you already know, and as all the rest can plainly see by looking at me right now, our program today on young hate mongers came to an unexpectedly violent conclusion. But because we believe it's important to expose the activities of these racist, anti-Semitic groups and to subject them to our scrutiny and our scorn, we're going to bring you the program in its entirety. Parents, please be advised that because of the violence and some of the language it contains, this program is probably not appropriate for small children. Thank you. Hey. Thanks. Our guests that you'll meet today are truly hate-filled. They are self-described racists, white supremacists, Nazi lovers, and they admit to resorting to violence if they think it's necessary to get their hate-filled message across. But who are their real victims? His name is William Stump. And he, his wife, and their little baby were attacked by 5 violent skinheads just a few days ago here in New York City. Let me just say that we tried to bring you this show a few weeks ago, but because their hatred begets hatred in others, our guests, the skinheads and their allies, were themselves attacked outside our studio by an angry mob of Jewish radicals. Now, since we refuse to be censored by them or by anybody, and because we feel exposure will weaken the following these racists enjoy, today you will hear from these angry young men. Meet John Metzger of the White Aryan Resistance Youth. He says that whites must learn to keep themselves separate from the evil blacks and Jews. Bob Hike. He's the director of the American Front. Although he's got some hair on his head, he's a skinhead in heart, and he believes that Adolf Hitler and the Nazis were heroes. Michael Palish, of the Skinheads of the National Resistance. He says our country has been invaded by the Hispanics, raped and deceived by the Jews, and maligned and fornicated on by the blacks. These people really believe those perverted statements. We'll find out the meaning behind their message, if there is one. And we'll meet some people who say that our guests are pathological misfits. Truly dangerous young men. Young racists. Are these angry young men merely looking for attention? Or do they represent something much more dangerous? That's our focus on this edition of Geraldo. Thank you. There has been racial hatred and there have been hate mongers since time immemorial. In recent years, they have gotten younger and their acts apparently have become more and more violent. This month marks the 50th anniversary of Kristallnacht. It was the beginning of the Nazis' reign of terror against the Jews in Europe. We bring you this show today to remind us of that past and to bring us up to date on what's happening in the present. They say that sunlight is the best disinfectant. So that's our goal today.
You know, skinhead scene was started back in the 60s, you know, and it's really racial oriented. You know, we're white racists and we believe in hard work, we believe in the family, and we believe in fighting for our race, and we'll defend it even to the death.
These young men are the next generation, heir apparents to the more mature neo-Nazi groups, reputed to be killing, robbing, and committing other acts of violence across this country.
He ain't got a hook nose anymore.
Though they are reportedly small and far between, some are so threatening. Former FBI Director William Webster said of one group, they are more dangerous than the KKK, more dangerous than this.
I'm headed to here, no more. Let's have white culture. Let's have white America. Let's have a place for our children to be raised.
For every group that hates, there seems to be an equally menacing group that hates them. And sadly, much of this hate comes forth in the name of the Lord.
America is cursed because we've allowed these Antichrist Jews into our midst.
We are Jews. We couldn't be prouder. And if you can't hear us, we'll shout a little louder.
Who are these people who are so passionate about their hate, so ready to be as violent as they feel necessary, to fight against those who would have a different social order?
Now, if you're in a situation where the enemy, whether it's the Nazis or people breaking into your home or whoever it may be who want to harm you,
Mordecai Levy, who you'll soon be meeting in our studio, heads the New York City chapter of the Jewish Defense Organization. It's a spin-off of the older, more extreme Jewish Defense League. Mordecai's group legally trains members in the use of these high-powered weapons, which he says have never had to be fired against an enemy. They seem nice enough guys, but if you or I aggressively defied their declared beliefs, they would handle it by any means necessary, including violence. In the new movie Betrayed, an FBI infiltrator played by Deborah Winger learns that nice guys can hate just as violently as anyone else.
Well, if we don't fight back, they'll take it all away from us, the whole country. Jew boy judges and bankers and politicians with the nigger police and Orientals.
All these people with guns, Shorty.
Yeah, I know it. I don't like it either. Hell, I have to close my eyes every time I pull the trigger.
He has to close his eyes every time he pulls the trigger. Now, that statement comes from a movie, but you had better believe that there are people out there, perhaps right here in our studio today, who freely admit they believe that sentiment. But first meet William and Marianne Stump and their baby. They were brutally attacked just a few days ago by 5 violent skinheads. You'll hear this story in a minute. John Metzger, the director of the White Aryan Resistance Movement, Bob Hike, the director of the American Front, and Michael Palish, the director of the Skinheads of the National Resistance. But first, let me hear from the victims. Bill, how did you get that shiner in your face? How'd you break your rib? I know you have.
Well, the rib broke last night because the hospital didn't find a crack in it. And last night it finally broke. But with the face, it was down in the pair train when I turned my head, when he laid, one of the guys with the crew cuts, skinheads, yelled, and 3 more flew up through the path.
What did he yell, Bill?
I don't even know what he was saying. It's just some weird noise he made. 3 came up the stairs. I turned and looked at him as I was picking up the carriage with her. And the guy that I first met, you know, saw us in the train, came up on the side of me and just hit me. He says a bottle. This is what he told the police, that he did hit me with a bottle. But, it, you know, the impact came from here down. And there's some facial bones up here broke.
5 of them.
5 of them.
Skinheads.
Was it white
Excuse me a second, John. John, excuse me, John. Marianne, were these guys shouting Nazi slogans? What were they saying? You tell us.
Well, when we first came over to them, they had said something to me, but I wasn't paying attention. And he had asked them what they said. And next thing they said, don't you believe in the white supremacy? Aren't you German? And then they gave the, you know, the Heil Hitler sign.
And said, don't you believe in beating on niggers? No offense to some of the people, but that's exactly what he said.
What'd you respond?
Tell him I don't believe in that. And then when he says, aren't you German? Don't you believe in your German race? And I says, I'm German, and I am. And as far as I know, I don't never heard of this. And then he gave me the Sea House sign, and I told him, you know, you guys are full. You don't even know what you're talking about. And that's when I approached the stairs, and that's when he started ripping off his shirt, laid out a call, 3 came up, and that's when he sucker punched me with a bottle, as far as he says.
So what was he trying to do, Marion? Was he trying to recruit your husband, you, into their movement? What do you think?
Possibly.
But you have no doubt that he was bringing up Nazi slogans.
Right.
Saying, aren't you German?
Yeah.
Don't you believe in hating this group or that group?
Yes.
How'd you react to that?
Well, a lot of times you hear that, you know. You constantly hear racial remarks all the time. So it's like after a while you get used to it.
Isn't that a sad statement? A
Yes.
sad commentary? So how do you feel about the guys who not only busted you up pretty good, but also made statements having to do with Nazism and hatred?
Well, I don't consider them as guys. Personally, I consider them as lowlife, really. Because anybody sit there and say they're for America and they're Americans, as far as I remember in school, The first Americans were the American Indian. And America came and was formed by Americans, and Americans were formed from all parts of the world. When everybody united from all different parts of the world, they made this what they call today America. So there wasn't no... So back then, there wasn't no colors or anything in disgrace of anything. The only color in the beginning, if you want to consider true Americans, is the American Indians. As far as I'm considered, they were the true Americans. We are the Americans.
Tough luck, they lost it. White man came over and came rolling in and took it over. Too bad.
Hold it, Phils. Let me be in charge.
Rhodesia, all white, you know.
Bob Hike, right? Bob Hike. You're a skinhead. Your organization is a neo-Nazi group.
No, not necessarily.
You believe in clashing and bashing, right? Going out bashing is sort of...
Attack us all you want. You're not going to get anywhere.
May I
Well, then
say...
speak your mind.
Hold it.
We will.
Bashing is defined in your publication as groups of you going out hunting...
In my publication?
Other groups.
In my publication?
Well, it's actually
I was attacked by
John
5,000
publication.
people, you know, just
come on,
just like the communists that are in this group right now.
How do you justify attacking a white man?
That's
I can't justify.
Hold it. We got a long show. Everyone's going to have their chance.
I don't need to justify it because I did not do it, and none of my people didn't do it. And people with political beliefs such as mine wouldn't have done that. We don't do that kind of thing. We don't walk around the streets just beating on anybody. We don't go up and spew political beliefs of somebody. If they don't agree with us, we don't beat them up. I mean, Jesus Christ, that's not the way to do things. Obviously.
What?
First of all, I like to say I'm a Jewish skinhead, and second of all, you want to bet. And second of all, I like to know why you have only white power up there, and why don't you have non-racist skinheads up there?
Show's not about racist.
The funny thing is, out of those 5 guys, right? They're talking about the white supremacy. This is what they're talking to me. One was Jewish, one is Irish. By their names, you can see one was Hellenstein, you know what I'm saying?
They're all a bunch of hypocrites.
Right, that's exactly what they are. I mean, anybody sit there, and it wasn't no waiting for no train. I mean, you got 3 guys downstairs by the train, and 2 standing upstairs.
Of course, this is the only crime that happened in the city, by the way.
That doesn't mean...
Do white people get hurt?
Wait, hold on.
Do white people get hurt?
Let me ask you.
What?
According to law enforcement, skinheads recently have been involved in activities. I mentioned bashing. You say you don't condone it. Okay, let's say you don't condone it. What about the desecration of synagogues?
If anything, they should be paying us not to do it.
What are you doing? Wait.
I personally told my people at Crystal Night that's coming up November 10th not to even go out at all because I don't want to see us get a bad name. Because for one thing, they're going to be out there with all their lights on because they're so scared of us. And for another thing, I don't want any bad rep for any of these groups. We're trying to turn these people into decent people. Matter of fact, all of our people right now...
Do you believe Bob Hike in the desecration of synagogues?
No. It's a waste of good American paint.
So I smoke pot, so what's up with that?
So you're a drug fiend, so that's your problem. We don't.
Recently in California... Excuse me. Recently in California, a group of skinheads, racist skinheads, slit the throat of a young Hispanic woman. They wanted to make a point and to scare minority people. Do you endorse that activity?
Listen, let's get to the real issues here. Why are you curbing? Why are you beating around the bush, Jerry? Look at Jerry King. That was your former name, wasn't it?
It wasn't, and I really recommend that you don't push me too hard.
Oh, come on, sir. Do a little research.
Okay. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. In the heat of the moment, I realized that it must be awfully confusing to you, the audience, because these guys look like these guys over here and look like the fellows on the stage. Now these skinheads or skullheads or whatever you call them support the 3 fellows representing the 3 admittedly racist groups. The front row here consists of, come on, give me a break. Consists of skinhead groups that do not support the racist philosophy of those on the panel. All right. No, please.
Clap for the drug pushers.
Wait. Here. Wait, hold it. What?
Oh, what are you saying? They were
Original
rich?
skinheads were white working class. If you are not white working class, you cannot be a skinhead by the definition.
By whose definition?
Just the way it's been since the 60s. There were no black, there's no such thing as a non-white skinhead.
They were rude boys, not
black skinhead, then I gotta get to the Nazis.
The first skinheads were Jamaican rude boys. This is where the star came from. The star came from mods. You guys are fakers, all right?
Oh,
you're neo-Nazis. Why don't you just go ahead and say you're neo-Nazis, right? You're lying to everybody. You're fake.
Hey, yo.
Define a neo-Nazi.
We're not national
are you, do you believe...
Do you even know what that means?
Okay. Who wants to speak?
I'll tell you what we believe in.
Good.
We have a big problem, okay? We're two fronts. We're fighting a civil war between our own people. Racially conscious white people need to preserve their heritage and culture. That's the first problem. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Stop,
the second problem is we're going after the United States government full force. They are our number one enemy.
Back up.
And we're going after them because they cause us problems.
Wait, back up to the first part. So
I want to get that straight. First of all, blacks, you guys don't really fit in. You're not in our agenda. That's what I'm saying. So don't feel like we're going to hurt you.
We don't want to fight.
We don't care.
That's what we're trying
What do you
to say.
want to do? What do you want to do?
We want to get away from the drug
what do you want
abortion,
to do?
drug
What do you want to
mixing.
do?
What I'd like to see?
Yeah.
In America?
Yeah.
I'd like to see truth and justice.
Oh, come
and right
on.
now
Superman,
there are
tell me
lies.
what you
You're
want to
pushing
say.
the lies. What do you
want to
about?
see?
You
What's
push
your
lies
agenda?
every
What's your
day.
agenda? You want a racially pure country? Is that what you want?
You don't see it at all.
Do you want all the minority people to leave the
It
country?
doesn't matter what country it is, as long as
come
they're
on.
racially...
Confront it.
Listen,
Confront
everybody
it.
deserves their own homeland, all right? Everybody deserves, every race, I don't care if you're white, black, red, whatever,
The Jews are
deserves a
committing genocide
racially...
right now.
Listen, the Jews got Israel, they've got their racially pure state, and they're doing well by that. Whites don't have it, and we need it. We're dying out. By the year 2000, we're not going to be here anymore. We'll be the minority in this country. I know. Thank you. And that's you, too. And that's all your sons and daughters, so laugh it up. That's your culture and your race going down the drain. Fine. If that's what you want, fine. But we don't want it that way. We want our own land. And listen, it's the U.S. government that is the enemy of everybody here and not you.
What heritage are you?
I'm German, thank you.
You're German.
I'm
old German.
I'm Polish.
German and Irish.
German and Irish.
He's a Christian. Excuse me.
I'm old.
Fellows,
Oh.
Yes.
You say we. Don't speak for us.
We're not speaking
We,
for
no,
you.
the gentleman in the center, I'm not
if you
even
don't want
speaking
part
to
of it, then
you.
we don't want
I'm
you.
speaking to the men in the center. You use the statement we. You go and you find your own homeland. America was founded and put together by all races and all people from all over the world. And that is what we are, and we are one nation under God. And you are not, my son. You're not.
Well, then why don't we have a lot of non-white scientists and physicists, teachers, government officials? Why aren't they up there? If we're all equal and we're all going for
While
the
they're
same
coming
base.
up, how come our country
You
is
got
going
white
down?
guilt, lady.
While they're
We don't
coming
want to
up, why is our
associate with
country
you.
going down?
There's white people out there in TV
We don't want
land.
anybody who
Your
doesn't
father,
want to be a part
Tom,
of that.
is one of the Aryan movement leaders. Is ex-KKK, right?
You did an
Ex-leader of
interview
the
with
California KKK.
Yeah, you did an interview with him and he smashed you in the ground, by the way.
What'd you say?
Smashed you in the ground. You didn't do too good. You lost your cool.
He smashed you in the ground?
Yeah.
You and your father together couldn't smash me in the ground. But I digress. How old were you when your father began preaching the racist line to you?
Racist, being proud of your heritage, racist. That's what I mean when I say racist. My father never forced anything down on me. I came from a racially conscious family. All the sisters I have, my mother and my father, many of my relatives, especially my family, they told me, they showed me, and a lot of it was just by experience. I went to public school. I didn't go to private school. I had just as much a chance to be convinced that I'm wrong now, but I'm not. There's literally thousands of people out there in TV land and in the audience. You don't see them because they're not going to stand up now, that agree with a lot of what we're saying. You have to fit us in your agenda, no matter if you hate us or not.
That the United States has to be a racially pure country? Who believes in that?
A lot of people. I get calls every day. Thousands of people are writing these shows.
There are only 1,500 skinheads in the whole country.
Oh, well,
Says who?
throw your figures
Says the ADL.
around.
You listen to them again?
Let's talk equality and the ADL. Okay, so we say blacks and whites are equal, okay? What about the Jews, okay? They're supposedly the self-proclaimed chosen people. Well, wouldn't you say that's one step above equality? So wouldn't you say that they have a much better chance at making it in this country than anyone else? Yes, they do.
This is
And
the
it's
land of
truth.
opportunity.
They own the
We give
media.
black
He's
people
the
money.
back
How
end.
come
They
all of
still
our
can't make it.
taxes have to pay to support Israel?
Bob,
And the chosen
Bob, how old are you?
people? 20.
What do your parents think about your activities?
20. They don't.
Your parents don't like what you do.
Half the
do they?
people in this audience are
They
Jews.
don't.
They're embarrassed by it, aren't they?
No, they're not.
They're embarrassed by what you do.
I can name
don't they?
as many.
No, they're not.
They're not?
Well, you can't hear me? What's the problem?
Henry Kissinger.
I have more questions to address to our three panelists, but before I do, let me introduce two more guests. First of all, Roy Innis. He is the chairman of the Congress of Racial Equality. He feels that our country is being embarrassed by these racists. Sitting next to him, Rabbi A. Bruce Goldman, the president of the Center for Jewish Living. He says that these racist groups are being run by pathological misfits. And in that line, Bob Hike, before I get to our two new guests, you know, we got this right from your writing. Do you not believe, sir, that Adolf Hitler and the Nazis were heroes?
What's that from my writing? What is? Please tell me what you're talking about.
Do you answer the question, please?
Heroes?
Yeah.
They, yeah, I guess, yeah, sure. They took up a struggle.
So cut through the bull. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
They were honorable.
In 10 years, they did what in the party, the National Socialist Party in Germany, did something that no one else has ever done. In that time, they turned an entire economy around and created a state that was, you know, unparalleled.
And wiped out,
They didn't have
almost wiped out a race of people.
What about Joseph Stalin and the 30
Almost
million people
wiped
he killed?
out a
Jews,
race
whites, and
of
everyone. You can't
people.
put the supposed 6 million on Adolf Hitler, man, because Joseph
Why?
Stalin,
You can't?
JFK,
You can't?
every man.
The Holocaust, did it happen, Bob Hike?
Does it matter?
How many?
Does it matter?
To the 30 million people.
Does it
What about
matter?
the Jews in the Ukraine that died? It was killed by
please.
Joseph Stalin, the man
Rabbi Goldman.
who was responsible for putting the Nuremberg trials.
Rabbi Goldman.
Rudolph Hess
Rabbi
did
Goldman.
nothing, put him away for 30 years, and
He
killed
says,
him in jail.
he says it doesn't matter. He says the
Doesn't
Holocaust
matter. I didn't say
doesn't
it. I
matter.
said
Should we
doesn't
be
matter.
frightened by his appalling ignorance? Or should we
What
be
about
angered?
the 30 million
Shut up!
people, man?
Or should we be angered by it?
No, here's a good man. and
Shut up. Go ahead.
This is the same kind of talk that we had over the war in Vietnam when we counted bodies. An atrocity is an atrocity, whether it's one life or 300,000
But the Jews
or
are
3
at the
million.
top of the list.
Let me tell you how I first understood the meaning of the Holocaust. It was incomprehensible to imagine 6 million or 30 million slaughtered by the Russians under Stalin. He's correct. Okay. Until one day, sitting at the Eichmann trial in 1960 in Jerusalem, as a young rabbi, as a human being, I tried to figure out what is 6 million. Until I heard a woman describe how a man named Adolf Eichmann ordered a young Nazi SS Gestapo lieutenant to take her child from her breast, she was nursing, and take that child and swing it by the feet against a brick wall as the brains poured out onto its mother's breast.
Hiroshima, Dresden, 60 million.
All war is genocide, man. Face
Shut
up
up.
to it.
Shut up.
You're
And
in
listen.
total.
And
What
listen.
Let
about
him finish, please.
Palestinians?
Let him
Listen.
finish.
I'm getting tired of it.
Let him
just going
finish.
on
I'm
about the
tired. You're
Jews.
tired. Shut up.
I then multiplied that incident by 6 million. And if that had been the only event perpetrated by racists, bigots, and people who hate each other, there is one thing that I've understood,
The more sympathy they get.
both in the area of what I call ethnic therapy, ethnotherapy I am, interracial, interreligious activities in which I listen to people intimately discussing their personal feelings involving racism and everything else in interpersonal relationships. The one thing that I've always noticed to be the case is I've never met a racist who loved himself or herself.
Roy Innis. Michael Palish of the Skinheads of the National Resistance says that our country
National White Resistance.
National White Resistance. Our country has been invaded by the Hispanics, raped and deceived by the Jews, and maligned and fornicated on by the blacks. Should we respond with anger or with sympathy?
I came here prepared to be very angry, but I feel very good because I see a cross-section of Americans here, and they're in good shape.
You say they're in good shape, but it's not.
The fact that this ad hoc cross-section of America understand that these guys are immature clunks and should be
I have
ignored,
a lot of people that beg to differ with you.
You know, make me feel very good.
He doesn't have an argument. That's what he's trying to tell you guys.
One argument, that was very simple. You're a bunch of young clunks that are trying to grab every bit of media because you know in certain elements in America, racism pays well. You want to be racist.
They called us. Believe me.
What? Wait.
Sunlight is the best disinfectant. I believe that. Just like roaches, when you turn the light on, you go and scurry.
Yeah, but you don't...
We'll be right back. Stay with us. Our focus, young hate mongers. Let's take some audience questions.
I was curious. They're awfully young. They are very media slick. They know how to bait, and they use words that they've been trained in. I also am not that upset. What my question is, I think that they're quite ignorant. I'd like to know their education.
Take your materialistic attitude and
all right, what's your educational background?
Lock it up.
Did you finish high school?
Materialism isn't
Yes.
going to do anything for
What's your education? We'll start with you.
Went through high school. I had a working background. I worked all through high school. 7 years of baseball. 2 years All-Star. Came from a good family. I'm an electrician.
What's your educational background, Bob?
I took the GED and got out when I was 14.
Okay, Michael, what's your education?
I graduated from high school, and I'm a layout and design artist.
A land design artist?
Layout and design.
Layout and design.
At an ex-con.
Are you an ex-con also?
Not an ex-con. Are you out of your mind?
Yes, you are, Michael. Why don't you tell them the truth?
Hey, I got no convictions, man.
I have to go to court tomorrow. That's true, but I'm not an ex-con, and I don't.
What are you charged?
You could take a drug test, and you wouldn't see any needle.
What are you charged with?
Oh, drugs have nothing to do with it. Only
what are you charged with?
I'm not an ex-con.
Rabbi, what's he charged?
My resume here, it won't say I'm an ex-con. I was thrown out.
He was arrested for a felony.
A felony. Wait, hold it. Here we are. Question.
He reportedly served time for felony.
I'd like to know if you're so.
Go ahead.
You wouldn't remember anyway.
If you have true belief in your convictions and your movement is as good and as powerful as you say it is, why are you afraid to let other people speak? Why are you not like other minorities and allow other people to pursue whatever happiness they find in whatever religion they find, whatever color they happen to be? You don't let anybody answer a question, and if you don't have a question like this lady over here, you tell her to shut up. What are you afraid of?
The reason why I do that is because I get sick and tired of hearing the sob stories from kikes. I get sick and tired of seeing Uncle Tom here sucking up, trying to be a white
man. Go ahead, Roy, go ahead.
Now, let me tell you.
Sit down, man.
Hey, you gotta be kidding. You gotta be kidding. You gotta be kidding. Hey, hold it. Hold it. Sit down.
complete at 11.
Only slightly the worse for the wear. We're back. The skinheads have been, well, the racist skinheads have been cleared out of the building. Roy, Innis, and I must admit I feel the same way. It was just too much. The kike remark was just too much. Rabbi, I'm just a half...
Do you remember when George Bush accused Mike Dukakis of being a liberal? What Mike Dukakis should have said is what I'm going to say to you. He should have said, Ich bin a liberal, and told him what it meant. Ich bin a kike. I am part of a tradition of 5,000 years of justice and compassion. I am part of a people who produce every single year 50 to 80% of all the Nobel Prizes in the world. I am part of a community of 1.8% people of the population of the United States that produces theater and art and sculpture and music and culture that is enjoyed by 98% of the American population.
Roy,
Ich bin a kike. Let me tell you what a Nazi looks like. I looked at Adolf Eichmann, I said, what does a Nazi look like? You know what a Nazi looks like? He looks like our uncle. He looks like our neighbor next door mowing the lawn. He looks like our accountant. He looks like our lawyer. He looks like our father, and he looks like our brother. He can have a shaven head or he can have long hair. He can wear a three-piece suit and run a campaign that requires 8 people to be removed a month before a U.S. election for having 8 Nazis. 8 neo-fascists, of which several of them have been accused of killing 100,000 Jews.
Okay, calm down. Okay, that's enough.
Calm down.
Good, I'm not.
You've never seen me when I'm not calm. I am perfectly calm.
Roy Innis. They say, let me just ask you, sticks and stones who break my bones, but names can never hurt me. But that name hurt us both.
Yeah.
Why were you motivated to stand that way?
Because this is beyond just the Nazi problem. It's a problem of increasing and growing indecency in America among certain hoodlum types who believe they've got the constitutional right to verbally assault. That's the word. Verbally assault people. I stand here today as a message to all the hoodlums, black, white, pink, Martian or otherwise. I would not stand idly by and have them abuse me verbally. All right? Assault me verbally. And more than that, I would not allow them to assault anybody else physically or verbally. I was very much hurt when I saw the television and heard about the gentleman's Bill's problem here with these skinheads.
The family that was
And let me tell you, I think my rage was more for you than for myself, for what they did to you. And I will hope that you will call on me if you ever have any trouble with these guys.
That's I wanted to ask them the question because they come from the same. The people that we had the incident with were from Pennsylvania, and it just goes to show you how violent. Like the man in the middle shows you how his temper is very sharp. He goes right off, no ifs, ands, or buts. So it goes to show you how it went off down where it happened with us. Because I would submit it to the racialism, and even at the end, after the incident happened, the guy grabbed me by my neck and told me, wouldn't it be easy just to join us in the beginning?
Yeah. Intimidation.
And it goes to show you that there's no doubt in my mind they would have done something to her and the baby.
That's right. And if more people stand up the way you did and I did, these hoodlums will back off.
That's the point. Hold it. That is the point. Listen. The main thing that Roy Innis said is something that I hope everybody in this country heeds. When someone calls someone a name, when someone attacks someone in a subway because they don't follow their particular belief, then it's not just the responsibility of the person attacked. It's not just the responsibility of the person being mugged. It's all our responsibilities. Ich bin
a kike.
But that's just like John Kennedy said, Ich bin Berliners at the Berlin Wall in 61.
John Kennedy.
Ich bin kike, all of us.
No.
We'll be right back.
Ich bin a Berliner.
It strikes me that some of our audience may be fairly traumatized by what happened here. Here's a lady. Now, where are you from?
I'm California.
And what do you think?
Well, I was in the back, and I moved forward just to maybe get out of here, but... I mean, this is my first day in New York.
But what do you think about what you heard?
Well, I had no idea what the difference between them and them. When they all came in, I had no idea what they wanted out of us. And,
Is it frightening?
I was shook up.
Yeah. So where are you from?
Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
So what do you think?
I'm shook up also. It's kind of scared, but, you know, talking with these people in between the breaks and stuff, they're very nice. And it's like, I look at them and I look at those other people. Now, those other people, they're against everything, but they're clean, okay? But these people, no offense, okay? But I would be more afraid of you if I met you on the street than I would be of them. No. And you're very nice.
You know, that is interesting. But is that one of the dangers of the Nazis, that, as the rabbi said, they look just like you and I? Okay, now, all right, let's get this. You guys are, stand up. You guys are not Nazis, right?
No, not at all. In fact, I want to make a clear point right now. It's not just skinheads that are involved in this. For example, as you might have guessed from the length of hair, I am not a skinhead. I'm involved in an organization called the Anti-Fascist Front. This man here is involved in an organization called Skinheads Against Racial Prejudice. This man over here is involved in an organization called the Anti-Fascist Skinhead League. Now, I want you all to know, we put our necks out on the line by coming here and being on TV, because there is a lot of problem between the skinheads. And an important point that needs to be made, a great misconception on the part of the media, people are playing up on these Nazi skinheads. The Nazi skinheads, particularly in New York, the white power skinheads, are a minority among the skinheads, and they are treated as a minority, and every now and then they're reminded that they're a minority.
But wait a second, how can the public tell the difference between a good skinhead and a bad skinhead?
You hear more about the bad than you do the good.
Well, I mean, we can tell the difference basically by the appearance. And you can see, like, if they're wearing a white power symbol, if they're wearing a Nazi symbol, it's obvious, you know. It's really hard. There is no way people on the outside can really tell.
What is a skinhead? Why do you shave your head?
I just believe in a lifestyle.
And what is the lifestyle?
Just working class and being involved in what's going on around you, simply. That's my opinion. I mean, but there's 11 different factions of skins. You have scooter skins, you have gay skins, communist skins, socialist skins. There's no real one group that you can pin down and say, well, this is skinhead.
Well, basically, we should go back to the origins of skinhead, which was in the 60s. It was a working class movement, and it was not racially biased at all. The original skinhead music was soul and reggae and ska. They were highly influenced by the West Indian blacks. So it was not racially motivated until the 70s, when it was sort of revived and it was altered and distorted. And then, so that's why you have the factions. And there have always been factions, and there have always been clashes between the two main, which is what you've seen tonight.
What happened? Where did it go bad? Where did the racial thing start happening? Well, was it the parents? He says, Mr. Stump here. Wait a second. There's probably a lot of truth. I consider you like every man. You know, you were victimized in this thing that happened to you on the train by the skinheads, the racial skinheads. But what's your opinion of this? Here you're raising this beautiful little daughter, 2 months old, almost caught up in the violence. What do you think about this as a parent?
Well, meeting these guys here, you know, when I first came in, I didn't know. As I said to one of them before, how can you tell the difference? I mean, because the ones that we encountered, you notice they was like the same. This is the type of reaction that we received, so you can imagine. So it goes to show you what they would have done if they did get their hands on the baby. So it goes to show you. The obvious is right there. You see the man in the middle, how violent he got, how mad he got. I mean, you seen his temper jump off like that. So now you can see what I was saying, because I wasn't involved or refused, and I wasn't going to take it. You can imagine now how I had to go through.
Okay, sit down, everybody, sit down. I want to talk to Roy. Hold it. Roy. Hold it. Is racism, and I don't know what the equivalent is in anti-Semitism, or all the other anti-religion, they're against Catholics too, for all I know. Is that on the rise in your perception?
No, it's not. But before that, let me say this, in reference to the question about the dress. Keep in mind, the Nazi brown shirts were spit and polish in Germany. Don't go by spit and polish looks. These are decent kids here from what I can discern. These are bums. These were spit and polish brown shirt bums. some of the biggest criminals and dope pushers got the prettiest cars and the prettiest clothes. All right? So be careful about that.
All right, now what about the question of racism and anti-Semitism?
No, it is not on the rise. I think the media is saying this, and it's unfortunate. The leaders are hustling this, all right, for their own good. The plain fact is America is less racialistic today than at any time in the history of the country.
Let me ask, I hope that's true at the bottom of my heart, but let me ask maybe a tougher question for you, Roy. Do you think that black radicals, people like Sharpton and Maddox and Mason and Farrakhan, do you think that they help exacerbate? Oh, there go the fellows. I guess they're being arrested. Oh no, they're not being arrested. I don't want them. I just want them out of town. They're just a bunch of punks. Bunch of punks. Just a bunch of punks. Let them go. The boys in blue. New York's finest hustles them out of here. Well, good. They're not getting arrested. All right, so I don't care. Being escorted out of here.
Hey, Geraldo, look.
Good. Hold it. Let me just get this answer. Please.
What you are doing is the proper thing, all right? And I'm sure the difference. You allow them to be heard. You don't censor them, and that's good. Because they're fool, they will, self-destruct. But at the same time, you make certain that I'm here. The rabbi is here. This very decent gentleman is here. These young folks are here. In other words, you give equal time to another point of view. The problem of the impression of increasing racism is a certain irresponsible element in media is given a disproportionate amount of time to the Sharptons, the Maddox, the Masons, and the haters, and the skinheads. That's the problem.
Okay. Light is the best disinfectant. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Our focus has been young hate mongers. We're almost out of time. Yeah.
I just wanted to say we should all be proud of our race. We should all fight for our race. And our race is the human race. Bottom line.
All right. Well said. Well said. Rabbi, you've got 20 seconds for some final thoughts.
William Stump is here because he's a victim. I'm here because you invited the Nazis, as other media have, to give them a forum in America. You have taken pipsqueaks, racist, not one complete sentence out of any one of them, except hate. Not one complete sentence, and you gave them a national forum.
But at least he allowed the other point of view to be heard.
I am more concerned that you do a show on this.
Nazis. More
Nazis. The new Nazis, the new right, and the Reagan administration. Right here.
This is, here, let me get Tony.
This is the fear right here.
What do you think, Tony?
I think that we don't have to worry about people like this because all they're doing is breeding hate. We don't hate in here, but they'll all be in jail within 10 years. We don't have to worry about people like this. They'll be in jail. Who do we worry about?
After they've killed how many people?
I don't think we have to worry about anybody.
How many more
people
victims?
like this? I think we all love each other as brothers and sisters.
The key is don't let them polarize us.
That's it.
Don't let their hate polarize us.
Can I hold that, baby? Let me take this little piece. Yeah, don't bleed on the baby. Here. Okay, this is the future, folks. This is like the lady said back there, I'm proud of the race of this baby. This baby belongs to the human race. And I hope she can grow up in a world that doesn't have hate mongers. And if they do, I hope the majority of people fight against them. Thank you.
Services have been furnished to the Geraldo Show in exchange for these announcements. Hotel accommodations in New York City provided by the Omni Park Central in mid-Manhattan near Carnegie Hall, Central Park, and Broadway theaters. Call 800-THE-OMNI or 212-484-3300.
Rabbi Goldman, Roy Innis, you here in the audience, thank you for being here. I'm sorry about what happened, but thank you for watching. We'll see you next time, folks. Bye-bye.